Everybody, Ducks here, and we'll be doing the Protection Warrior. Yes, talent tree. This one I find fairly different, maybe because of the way Warrior feels now for me. It's a little bit different. Again, remember, I'm always doing this based on I want to basically level quickly, so that's nothing about end game or anything like that. Although I will mention it here and there. This is based on a level 100. So all the spells and abilities, when I talk about it, I'm talking straight off, basically WoD level. So first rank, we have Shockwave, sends a wave of force in a frontal cone causing 10.2k damage and stunning all enemies within 10 yards for 4 seconds. And the cooldown is reduced by 20 seconds if you strike at least 3 targets. So on a 40-second cooldown, if you make sure that you hit a lot of people with it, it's actually very valuable. Stunning them for quite a bit and making a decent amount of damage. Siegebreaker. Instant 45-second cooldown. That one you cannot reduce. And what it does is it body slams basically the target for 25.9k damage and knocking them back and down for 1 second. So it's pretty good. That's for sure pretty good. I've used quite a bit of that as well. I liked it a lot, especially single target. You want to do more damage and all that, you're probably going to want to go with that for boss fights. But if not, then you probably want to go Shockwave. Warbringer Intercept now deals 5.4k damage to all enemies within 5 yards to the target and stuns them for 1.5 seconds. Now remember, Intercept is all intertwined with Charge. They're all together now. Right, so and basically if you intercept, you're charging. It's not like you're intercepting a friendly target. Right, so if you charge, you can charge anything for and everything around it is going to get hit for 5.4k. I can see that being very decent in PvP, maybe for a tank that's doing you know, this thing, but besides that, I mean, I just don't see it very useful. Again, for me it would be a toss-up between Shockwave and Shieldbreaker, depending on what you want to achieve. Rank 2, we have Vigilance. Protect an ally for 12 seconds. I'm going to stop right there because I don't protect anybody when I'm leveling. I don't care about Vigilance. Bounding Stride. Heroic Leap's cooldown is reduced by 15 seconds. It also increases your run speed by 70% for 3 seconds. Not bad, sure, but I prefer having Crackling Thunder. Increases your radius of Thunderclap by 100%. So now you double the range of Thunderclap, and you can actually guarantee you're going to hit stuff. Especially if you're going to level 3 dungeon, you're going to need AoE a little bit, and that's going to help you at least ensure you hit everything every time. Renewed Fury. Passive. Ignore Pain also enrages you, increasing damage done by 10% for 6 seconds. Now, Ignore Pain is this new thing that they brought in that completely changed how Protection Warrior works. So let's give you a tooltip for Ignore Pain. So it's an active mitigation, 40 rage, melee range, instant, 1 second cooldown. Yes, 1 second cooldown active mitigation, and it's huge. Okay, fight through the pain, ignoring 90% of the next 90k based on maximum health, total damage that you take from any sources. So a very important talent here where, again, Ignore Pain, you are going to be constantly rolling that up so that you constantly have a shield on you. And in that way, you never really, it didn't feel to me like I was taking a whole lot of damage ever with him, because again, you don't really have a whole lot of ways to heal. You just have ways to fucking not get damaged. That's basically how it works now with these guys. So the first one, Ignore Pains, also enrages you and it increases your damage by 10% for 6 seconds. So again, not too bad. And again, if let's say it again, it's oh, they don't say it. Okay, 1 second. I thought they would give us a cooldown on that thing, but they didn't. So Ultimatum, your Shield Slam critical strikes make your Heroic Leap cost no rage. I prefer that because Heroic Leap, not Heroic Leap, but Heroic Strike costs like 30 rage, so it's quite a lot of rage, especially when you have to get ignore pain at 40. So if you want to keep using that ability, I felt that that was probably the only way that was going to happen ever. So so that's why I did that. I picked this so that my shield slam, which is already in my rotation, basically makes it no cost. Avatar, transform your Colossus into a Colossus, sorry, for 20 seconds, dealing 20% increased damage, and removing all roots and snares. Very good cooldown as well. I guess it depends on the situation that you're in and all that. And it's a 1.5 minute cooldown. Second win, passive, you gain 7% health every 1 second when you haven't taken damage in the last 5 seconds. Double time increases the maximum number of charges and intercept by 1. And then inspire your allies. Again, I don't care about the partners when I'm leveling, so that would be between those two. I wanted a little bit of a heal if needed. That provides it really nicely. I mean, 5 seconds. I mean, it's not much, especially if you use Shockwave to keep your mobs stunned. You can be in combat, you just can't take damage. It would kick in and then you start getting 7% every second. Is a lot of health. Next rank, Best Serve Cold. Revenge generates 2 additional rage for each target that it hits. And Revenge swings in a wide arc, dealing 20k damage to all enemies in front of you. So, and it generates 5 rage already. Your successful dodges and parries reset cooldowns of Revenge, and cannot occur more often than once every 3 seconds. So again, you're getting 5 rage for doing that, and then if you hit, again, every target that you hit is going to give you an extra 2. But again, they have to be kind of in front of you, so that's the tricky part here for this one. Then you have Never Surrender, passive again. Ignore pain will ignore up to 100% more damage based on your missing health. So here, my thing would be, if you're not damaging the targets quick enough and keeping your shield up, then maybe you want to take that. Because again, if your shield is not up, you're going to take damage and you're going to have to heal. So you're either going to have to wait a long time after you killed something to get second wind to kick in and heal you back up, or you know, you're better off getting Never Surrender like I do and double your shield, so that way as soon as that thing pops, it's ridiculously high and you just cannot take damage. So I'm going to do something here. I'm going to pick this for a second and I'm going to check. Yeah, the tooltip, when I read it for 90k, doesn't affect this, so it would be 180k shield with this. Indomitable, passive, and increases your health by 25%. Now this one looks a little underwhelming, but I just read the tooltip 2 seconds ago and it made me think it's actually not so bad. Wish I remember what it was. I love this. I just read something and it was talking about freaking health and how it helps you in some way, and I just can't remember it. Oh, that's ignore pain. So Indomitable looks just like, okay, another health buff I don't really need. But again, if you read the tooltip for ignore pain, fight through the pain, ignoring 90% of the next 90k based on your maximum health. So buffing it 30% augments that shield. So it's something to think about. But then again, do you want 30% or do you want 100? I guess we already answered our question. And this is just, you're getting more health, sure, but you're gonna get a little bit of a buff. I guess it makes it not as overwhelming as losing 100% completely. But again, it's still, I think this is still better. Vengeance. Ignore pain reduces the rage cost of your next heroic strike by 50%. So again, that's what I went with, so that I can put some heroic strikes here and there. Because again, it costs too much rage if you don't. Into the fray, you gain 5% ace for each enemy within 10 yards, up to 5. So you can get 25% haste. And then Booming Voices. Booming Voices, Demoralizing Shout also generates 50 rage and increases damage you deal to affected targets by 20%. So unless the target, i.e. a boss or whatever, hits so hard that the 20% of his being nerfed, and the 20% would be a huge asset, then I would probably not pick that, because your shield's going to be so good, especially for trash mobs, that this is not going to be worth it. But I can see it being a nice little raid thing maybe, or something like that. You got to realize too that the cooldown is humongous for this. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown. It's not like they used to have a nice demo shot that was quick and dirty. So again, you get a lot of rage, but again, it's a 1.5 minute cooldown. So I preferred Vengeance to it, but again, I would go between either of those right now. And then the last one, Anger Management. Every 10 rage that you spent reduces the remaining cooldown of Last Stand and Shield Wall by 1 second. Didn't really feel like I needed to use a ton of cooldown so far, but again, if I did, then this would help a little bit. I preferred Heavy Repercussions because I wanted a little bit more damage. So, and also this one is kind of like a, you know, works two ways. Your Shield Slam extends the duration of your shield block by 2 seconds, and then your shield block increases the damage of your Shield Slam by 30%. So you're increasing your damage and you're also increasing your defense. I found that this was like a best out of all three of those. The next one is Ravager, which you guys know about. Throwing a whirling weapon, at the target location that inflicts 3.3k damage to the enemies within 6 yards every 1 second, last 10 seconds. Also increases the chance to parry by 30% for 11 seconds, which is not bad at all either. So again, just depends on what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be pulling a lot of mobs, which is highly likely, then probably go with Ravager. That way you get that nice little parry buff on top of everything else, and you're hitting a lot of targets. So again, it just depends on what you were doing. I was not doing a whole lot of multi-target when I did initially, so I picked this one. But again, this one is just as good. This one is a minute cooldown too. That's another thing you remember. This one is just every time Shield Slam is up. Shield Slam is up every 9 seconds. So you constantly get this, and you constantly get that extra 2 seconds of shield block, which, if you don't know, again, shield block raises your shield blocking every melee against attack against you for 6 seconds. These blocks can be critical blocks. Shield Slam deals 60% additional damage while shield block is active. So already your Shield Slam deals 60% additional. So it's just gonna make it even better. So again, toss up as to what you want to do. Again, but a lot of the options are fairly straightforward. Maybe 1 or 2 picks are really worthy in most, at most. So again, thanks for watching. See you guys on the next side. Why did I say that? I don't know.